All right. Looks like we're live on Facebook. Okay. All right. All right, here we go. Who's that? Let's see. Hello, Ann. All right, so we're going to run a quick, just a real quick intro for about a minute. And that way we can buy ourselves a little time. All right, hang on. So we can allow some people to come in. Just give me 1 second. All right, share, go here, there, boom, boom. Let's get started now. Let me just pull up a couple of things so I can have give a little background on our new friend, Paul Hanna. He's an MD. Let me just pull this up real quick. All right, here he is. Welcome everybody. And let me just say, if you don't mind, we're not even able to share into the Soulogy network. We're being suppressed again, and that's okay. So if you could share it to a page, to a group, that'd be great. And I just want to say too, thank you for your continued love, support, and contributions. Help us continue to do what we're doing as we're about to hit the road. So we're very thankful for that. We've got a new guest, new friend that we're going to make. Very impressive individual by the name of Paul Hanna, medical doctor. He's an expert in traditional Western medicine and complementary healing modalities. Dr. Hanna is a board-certified psychiatrist and a graduate of the UCLA Berkeley Medical Acupuncture Program for physicians. He also completed training from Nanjing University, where he was licensed for acupuncture, moxibustion, and auricular therapy. He is also an internationally renowned Qigong, I probably said that wrong, Qigong master. So let me pull him up now. And he's been very patient this morning as we ran into some tech difficulties. Let me see if he's got it. Start. Oh, 1 second. There you go. Can you hear me, sir?
I hear you clearly, yes.
How are you, sir?
I'm superb. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for honoring us with your presence and your patience. sharing space with us today. Yeah, we are kind of like the guerrilla warfare universal cast. We do everything by the seat of our pants, but it seems to work. We seem to be doing okay with it, and it is such an honor to have you here. We get a lot of different people on here in 1,700 episodes.
Fantastic.
And we try to talk to just anyone and everyone, and we try to learn from the experience of their life and the experience of their being exposed to their light. And it's really a conversation. It's not a Q&A. So it's exciting to have you here. I can feel your energy. You've been doing this a long time. I get the feeling.
Well, you've been spiritual time, millennial time.
We're gonna get along fine. But I mean, you know, a lot of times when people, because this broadcast, this energy, We don't really have any set curriculum. We are very open. We talk about what people call ascension. We talk about the carbon body transforming to light body. We talk about the galactic. We talk about visitations, paranormal. But mostly we talk about our hashtag is the human is the hero. And we talk about the human experience. But a lot of times when people first come on the show, and I know you have a very storied life, I'll ask them, when did you wake up? Did you ever have a point in your life where you said, hey, everything's not what it seems like? Things might be running a little differently here. And you may have been born that way.
Well, 2 points to answer your question, I think when I was 12, I mean, I was raised in the South, and one day I was just walking down the road, and something hit me. And I said, what is this? And I just fell down beyond a tree, and I got some very powerful things that came to me. But also, down there, you had to go to church in the South, When I realized that I didn't believe in this typical religion about you sin, you go to hell and burn forever, I don't think you can have that kind of, God can have that kind of love and punish you that way. So I stepped out of that at 12 or 14, saying you cannot be no eternal hell or heaven, what they're talking about burning this way, So at that age, that's when I had to shift. Wow. I also had a shift at 14, and when I had to transcend my tribal consciousness in terms of following along with people, what they were saying. So I decided to take more responsibility for myself. When I say responsibility, I mean what you think, what you feel, and just being responsible, that's a big issue, responsibility. Yeah. And as a professional healer, physician, and internal martial artist, I see that people get stuck and get attached to the intellect or the emotion or the spirituality. You must have a balance, Balance is very, very important to have balance. So those things so I started when I was 12, continue it to now,
Now, did you say you were from the South?
Yes.
The Southern United States?
Yes.
Really? So
yes.
you were like a fish out of water. Well, I'm from Texas, and I know I'm a little older than you, but I can tell you that I know I've traveled a lot in my former career.
Yeah.
And the companies I worked for were based in the South, which was also a very eye-opening experience because my last name ended in a vowel. And, I didn't know how far prejudices and, structures, how deep they went, But anyway, my point is that, so and I have to say, hats off and big props to the local church in the South, because there's a lot of good things that come out of it. And I've been to a lot of them, but I'm not taking shots at anyone. But you stepped out of the box. You weren't even an adult.
Correct.
And you're 14 years old, stepping out of the box in the deep South.
Yes.
And you end up being, you go into martial arts, you go into healing. I mean, how did that all start?
Well, I stepped out, I left my grandparents' house, came to Chicago. As I said, I always like making peace. And so in Chicago, I was raised on the west side of Chicago. And so you had to make a decision. You're going to be in the streets or you're going to change your life. Yeah. And I got involved with some martial arts, and one Chinese and one Black. And both of them, after working out with them, said, you got to stay in school. I said, why? Because your energy is so high, and because of who you are, you need to stay cultivated. Yeah. So that's martial art in that sense saved me to stay focused and going, rather than looking outside. You must look inside as to who you are. Yeah. Looking inside is very important as to your own divinity, your own source. And that's what I'm about, helping people to wake up to their source, who they are inside.
Wow. So now your bio talks about several different fields within the healing, traditional and let's just say traditional and non-traditional, or traditional and holistic. But that statement that you just made tells me that you are an energy practitioner.
Big time. Yes.
It's not just a medical doctor. You are an energy worker. You show people how to connect, I would assume, to themselves, to their higher selves, to energy transformation, these types of things?
That is totally correct. I see myself as a conduit for
Yeah.
transmitting unconditional love and universal truth. If you really realize that they're one energy, one breath, and one love, and you accept your own gift, everyone have a gift, and you utilize that gift to be a servant,
Yeah.
to be a servant. And being a servant, you help people to wake up to their own energy as to who they are, to be more responsible. And for my particular thing, what I can do naturally is look at a person. By looking at them, I can tell them what soul quality are being violated and what organ is being affected, you know.
Mm.
So that's why when I say soulology, I say, well, when she mentioned to me, please let me be on the show because I'm all about the soul. I'm
Yeah.
all about this. And I said, like my second book is about that, remembering quality of the soul and
Yeah.
joyful living your God self. So when you really remember all your qualities, you don't have no ism, no sexism, racism, ageism, all that goes out of the window.
Yeah.
So it's waking people up to that reality.
Now, are you in Chicago? Or are you in the,
Yes,
you're in
Chicago.
Chicago? I
Mhm.
spent some time in Chicago. It's one of my favorite cities. My
Yeah.
aunt still lives there. She's been in the psychiatric profession for 25, 30 years over there. But maybe we'll get up that way and we can have a cup of coffee. This is quite fascinating.
I'd be more than happy to, you know.
I can, yeah. Now I want to talk a little bit about your books, and I want to talk a little bit, but I want to ask you just from because again, I find it very unique. Again, 1,700 shows. We've had some people from the Deep South. We've had some people, from the traditional, organized African American Deep South Baptist. And it's a beautiful thing, but to see their stories is amazing. Now you sound like one of the old blues guys that said, "The heck with this, I'll go up to Chicago and plug in," on the spiritual level. But now, did you have any particular faces of the universe guiding you, or have you always dealt with the universe in like a singular voice?
It's all seemed like it's happening secretly. Like as I said, the main thing is to be responsible. When I came from the South, I had to be responsible. So breaking all kind of trends. So I went to the store, this Howard Style Shop. It was a selling clothes. Why am I telling you this? Because that why I learned how to look at people and I saw how things coordinated in terms of their energy, their colors, and what looked good on them. By
Mm.
working at that store, a man came by every Friday by the name of Ogun. I don't know if you heard of Ogun. And so Ogun was talking a lot of things, seemed like I recognize deep truth. And I said, who taught you all of this? And he said, Dr. Berry. I said, where's Dr. Berry? So he told me. So I went to the class, and when Dr. Berry saw me, he said, do you know who you are? I said, wow, who I am? Yes, I'm Paul Hanna. He said, no. Do you know who you really are? And he said, well, the universe or the cosmic is telling me not to charge you because you're qualified. I thought that was great. I said, okay. So to answer your question, Dr. Berry was a big metaphysical spiritual guide for me to wake me up to more of my inner divinity, who I am as a God man,
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yes.
That's fascinating.
Yes.
And now I'm also getting the perspective too, because I would imagine you saw a lot of the 60s like I
Yes.
did.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm thinking about your journey, and there was a lot of stuff going on in Chicago during all this time that you were there.
Yes.
As you were sprouting,
Yes.
I mean, there was a lot of stuff happening over there. So now, did you find like-minded people there, or did you pretty much do this on your own?
I mean, the group that Dr. Berry had, the New Age Truth, that was supported within itself, And again, he also was a continuation of telling me to keep refining, to get on his shoulder, to show the world the light as to who I am.
Yeah.
And so that was very supportive in that sense,
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And now you talk about going to this store and putting colors onto a person based on an intuitive or whatever, right? And somehow or another, I think I understand what you're saying is that even though that was a physical representation, it was still an energetic occurrence. And Okay,
Yes,
so
totally energetic because, you know, everybody doesn't look good in red.
yeah,
They feel, I mean, you have to look at that person and look at what coordinate with their energy. I didn't know what I was doing at that time. I'm very good at that. As I learned more about energy through martial arts, through qigong, through practicing tai chi and TCM, I understood more about what that was about. But I knew about it at that time.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Now, did you ever? No. So when if I come into your presence
Mhm.
as a client,
Mhm.
um, I guess you probably have some type of just overall assessment. Are you able to just look at people and do you see auras? You said something earlier about detecting the associated organ affected by such and that type of thing.
What I said is someone came in for a diagnostic consultation, be it indirect or direct. I'm already reading the energy.
Yeah,
I'm not saying I see auras. I
yeah,
was have more clarity since I feel and
yeah,
I see. What I'm saying is, when I look at a person, I can look at their overall, not racial skin color, but
yeah,
the energetic skin color. So in Chinese medicine, that's red, that yellow, that green, that black. That's represents certain things. I can tell that right away. Then I go to my second phase. They were with me. I would do a more traditional in addition to that. But I don't want to tell them that what I see till I get that because sometimes people get a little freaked out. So I
yeah.
just tell them we need to do this blood test. We're gonna do this test. We do those three tests. But
Wow.
I do it. I do have people calling me up and do consultation,
Yeah,
and I can tell them by looking at them, tell them what's going on, and by
yeah.
talking to them. Mhm.
So you actually combine what, let's just say, the I don't want to say mainstream, but the the energy practitioners that I've come across over the last few years. So some of them work with angels, and some of them work with galactics, and some of them work with plants, and some, but you actually have a mix of that intuitive, imaginative, creative force that we are, that you're utilizing as part of your purpose, and you mix it with what we might call traditional, stereotypical medical science.
Totally correct. Yes, that's what I do.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. Have you got any apprentices? I mean, has anybody followed your lead?
Not as of yet. I have a lot of students. I just did a workshop this weekend. It was very good. I'm trained to dealing with the energy. They're
Yeah,
asking for more workshop dealing with the spirituality of healing,
yeah.
the spirituality of like protection. So those things, I'm getting more people like that.
No. I want to get into the books in a minute, and we still got plenty of time. But I want to ask you, just just because I'm curious, you know, what's your take on this whole ascension or awakening? Do you feel there's a collective expansion that's going to surpass physical matter, transform into a higher dimension? I mean, do you have any opinion on that part of it, or do you stay focused on the central part of your life, which is your relationships, your profession, that type of thing?
No, 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 no. Much broader than that. That is a progression because remember, I left this out there because everything is evolving up. I think some people, for me, I think love is the most powerful thing. And I think love neutralizes and transform. To answer your question, I think it is definitely ascension. It's definitely transformation. It's definitely expanding. That's where I'm coming from. That is my major role is to get in to wake people up to that. Because there's a big thing of that's a love energy, people don't understand how powerful it is. So
Yeah,
therefore they have a tendency to block it out. When they block it, what happens when you block things out? Well, you get stagnation. So what is stagnation? Stagnation causes what we call inflammation. What's the inflammation? It's disease. Because basically you don't feel worthy, you're not aware, or you're doing something to violate those basic laws. The
yeah.
more you love, the more you care. The more you care, the more you share. So therefore, answer your question, yes, I do believe and see and invest in the expansion, the transformation, the ascension, and the descension of that.
So, and I'm going to get off of this line in a minute. I'm just curious because you've got such a diversified makeup. So you're from the deep south.
Mm-hmm.
I've spent years being a history buff. I don't read as much as I used to, but I've got a real affinity for the Deep South because I love the blues and I love the
Oh,
history,
yes.
and I love the spiritual, some of the spiritual frequencies that went into the blues, like with Son House and some of the other artists. But so was there any influence, anything that you took from that fervency that they have or can have in the Deep South, particularly in the Black churches? Did you take any of that with you? And second part of the question, do you have any type of etherical team that works with you?
That's the first question. What I take from that is the total level of the caring, the creativity, and be able to make something from nothing.
Yeah.
And I took that very, and like the creativity, the spiritual connection. I mean, when you go into the church that you're talking about, you can feel and know that. And I feel that now also with blues, also with that, because there's an energy that's very expensive, that's very inspiring. I'll just listen to the blues before I came to see you. I'll listen to B.B. King. I'm driving down the street. That's what I'm listening to, because it's just like I was in my book. I'm talking about, when you start hearing things, you can tell if it's coming from the mouth, if it's coming from the throat, if it's coming from the heart. Yeah. And so when I listen, I'm very sensitive to feeling. So I took that, being able to distinguish, what are they singing? They're singing about just to be singing. Are they singing true? They something they really deep, really feel. And I took that from the South. It helped me tremendously. Okay. Yeah. And what's around me, I just had that conversation about Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel. Those are some ones that I say is around me right now. Yeah. The other one is Ogun. I just found that Ogun and a lot of those things around me right now, to answer your question in regards to that.
Yeah. I was just curious. I know it's a big team. I can feel it.
Yeah.
I do have to point this out. Our brother Richie Sauter says, quote, "The more you love, the more you care. The more you care, the more you share." Unquote. Oh. Boom. So not only is the good doctor into all these other things, he's also a poet.
Right.
So now you've written 2 books, and do you want to talk about the first one, or do you want to go right into the second one that you had mentioned a couple of times?
Well, the first one is called Qigong Awakens.
Okay.
Always living your vibrant self. So what is that about? It's to wake up, becoming aware as to who and what you are. And then you have to allow it to come into your core being. Yeah. Then also after that, you got to apply it. So I call it the AAA. You know what I'm saying? A3. You got to become aware, allow, and apply. Because sometimes to wake up in this third dimension is very challenging. Why? Because some people are so attached to customs. Yeah. And they don't want to go beyond that. So when you wake up, the question is, will you allow yourself to be who you are? Yeah. Then do you have the courage to apply yourself? Yeah. So Qigong, is about the breathing and the relaxation, the visualization, the manifestation. So I use those principles in there. And one of my core principles always is, always smile love into your heart. Because love neutralizes, transforms, and disintegrates all lower vibrational frequencies. That's the first book in essence.
Yeah, I like that. And I agree with you. We get along just fine. But no, I do, because, and I've said this many times on the show, like, we didn't come here just to wake up. I mean,
right.
I am God. Okay, well, I understand that, but we didn't come here just to wake up. We came here to wake up. And I love the word you use. I'm gonna have to replace my word. But and you do have to allow it.
Right.
There's like a surrender to that embrace. Mm-hmm. One and the same, but then to actualize it, to actually put it into motion. And I love what you say in that, do you know who you really are? And like, what do you want to do? So it's not like the universe is telling us, hey, you're aware, now you're in this special mission on Earth, and now you need to go do this. I think the universe is saying, hey, what do you want to do? Where's your your frequency? Is it the blues? Is it poetry? Is it being a doctor? Is it all the above? Yeah, I really like that a lot, because, so much of this realm has been designed with a savior mentality, an entitlement mentality, And I'm not throwing rocks at it because we designed it, but it really is about that self-reliance and self-responsibility that you were talking about earlier. Yeah.
We have to allow that. That was the big part of my workshop on Saturday. I said, once you get to being a father, a husband, or a man or woman, whoever you say you are, who are you beyond your typical roles? And what are your special gift that you desire and love to do to make this galaxy yourself better? And everybody got quiet.
Yeah.
I say, I mean, think about it. You are defined by roles. I mean, we got, let's say 9 billion people. How many have your thumbprint? So you are very powerful. You're very unique. Your uniqueness can create and become spontaneous, create other people's uniqueness. Do you have the courage? Do you have the confidence? Do you have the compassion to move this forward? That was, yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah. Well, you know, in the guts, you know, because that's a big thing too, isn't it? You know, I mean, yes. And I'm getting to the point now we're in 2020, and, you know, so many people come on the show and they have these incredible wake-up experiences where they've gone through successive traumas and major physical and medical challenges and just all these great, incredible stories. And then I see a lot of rhetoric. And again, I'm not throwing rocks at anyone. I'm just saying we're not here just to wake up. And it does take some guts. And I think what we have to get over, I would like to hear your views on this. I mean, what do we have to lose?
Well, in regards to this,
we're eternal beings or not? I mean, can anything
when you wake up, you have to realize that you're not alone in the not just this physical world. That's someone that's energy beyond you. You have to realize that becoming aware that you are a God person.
Yeah.
So in reality, there's no failure. But since we have such attachment, and this sensational attachment create a sense of dependency or fear. So therefore we get stuck. That's why we have people, well, my teacher, Dr. Berry, told me, we have like silver tongue artists. They can talk about it, they can't walk it.
Right.
They don't walk. So you have to have the courage to break out and say who you are. Then you got to be who you are. Okay, and that was taking me to my second book. You got to wake up, get up, and keep up. And so getting up, saying, stand up in the mirror, say, I am that I am, and that this is who I am, and I'm vibrating this frequency because this is my gift, this is my desire, this is my soul purpose. It's called courage, called trust.
Yeah. Yeah. I love this. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, how long have you had this book out?
It's coming out. I mean, the second one, the first one's already out. The second one is coming out hopefully this month. That book is coming out hopefully end of this month. Okay.
Yeah. Now you mentioned this presentation or event that you had this past weekend.
Yes.
So I'm assuming you do these types of presentations and seminars and such on a local level. Is that only in the Chicago area, or do you get around a little bit, or do you do those online as well?
No, first of all, I do get around online in the future, but getting around, yes, because I like being in the group, walking into the group, and feeling the group.
Yeah.
And connected from heart, and expanding that frequency.
Yeah.
And that is where we're talking about self-awareness, qigong, healing. It doesn't matter. It's about how do you get that frequency. But this particular weekend was dealing with the circle, Tai Chi circle. What does that really mean? The Tai Chi circle. What did that symbol mean? So I got off into the symbolism. It was a circle. So in the circle of spirituality, there's no beginning, there's no ending. It's a continuation. It's an infinity. You have to understand that's what side of you. Yeah. And I said, how many of you recognize me and what? How many of you accept the feminine quality of you? Female, how many accept the male quality?
Yeah.
And which one are you attached to? The question is how you balance it. If you don't balance your mental self, then your physical body is not balanced. So therefore you're having disease as well. You can't maximize your radiant energy. You cannot be healthy. So we're talking about having people the courage to be honest with themselves. See, honesty is a very strong principle. Learn how to be honest. How do you harness one natural energy?
Yeah.
We talk about this to help people to do that. So
Yeah.
it is a process going on.
Yeah. Yeah. The brutal honesty of the soul. That's what I spent 2 years walking the streets by my own choice when I woke up.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the phrases that was given to me, because I'm like you, I'm just a conduit.
Right.
They
Right.
said, they said, you're from the South, Todd, you're from the South. We're going to have a come to Jesus meeting, but we're going to rename it. And it's called the brutal honesty of the soul. You can't lie, can't make excuses. You can't blame anything external. Circumstances and consequences are all the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was where the responsibility slowly but surely started to seep in, which
Mm-hmm.
I think to me is like the whole catalyst for creation.
Yes.
At least in this realm, it's like when we actually have the kahunas to say, I am going, I claim this, I embrace that I am made in the image. And just because I'm in a dense physical environment doesn't mean I can't create miracles. Now let's get jiggy with it. That's the way I look at it. I mean,
That is totally correct in regards to that. I'm totally in agreement with that, as well as talking about to people. And one of my phrases that I always use, I say, whatever you do to you. They say, what? I say, whatever you do to yourself. So the question is, learn how to be responsible, take responsibility, and move forward.
Yeah.
And that being honest with it, are you doing it? Are you kind of manipulate people to do it for you? So then you begin to get into the ego versus soul.
Yeah.
And you say, what is the difference? Huge difference. Ego does not ever want to take responsibility for whatever's done. I mean, if it's negative, you say, but so you had to learn how to go beyond that, take responsibility. As a board certified psychiatrist, I see what is the difference between a kid, a toddler, an adolescent, and an adult. I say, wow, what's the difference? Well, a toddler, is they doing what they want. They can just do this. An adolescent, what does the adolescent do? They always point the finger. They always point the finger and blame someone else.
Yeah.
And so adolescent goes anywhere from like 12 all the way to 100 in age because they blame it other people. Take responsibility for yourself and without saying somebody else did it,
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big deal. And over this past 2 months, I guess, as we get into the January would be the 3 months, people have come on this show and in the communities that I scan, talking about deeper and deeper, hugely deep levels of brutal honesty of the soul, taking responsibility, moving away from projection and judgment. And these have been real challenges to people. There are a lot of people that are tripping out, and I've had a couple of meltdowns. I'm not going to lie about it, but it's good stuff, isn't it? I mean, there's something about this universal energy that's present and expanding that's actually supporting our liberation, our sovereignty, and our co-creative abilities and such.
Yes, I totally agree with that.
Yeah. Now, you are all now. Can you tell us what you do online? I mean, do you do any type of session work, energy work online? And I know you have a website. We're going to pull it up in the last 10 minutes of the show. But what type of things can people? Because somebody had already asked, where can they get the books? And we're going to take y'all to his website at the end of the show. But what kind of services or products do you have available to people who are not in Chicago?
Well, right now we're gonna be able to go online. They're gonna be able to get me online, and they will be able to have a consultation with me.
Mhm.
And I'm also willing to come to a city. I just had a big workshop. I was in a workshop. There's a big conference in Vegas with a physician, and there's some people want me to come down to Austin, Texas,
Yeah.
and to teach them. They said we need self-defense, and I asked them what kind of self-defense you need, and they said we need self-defense. So the question is, I'm willing to go to different places as long as we got a minimum of 10 people, and have a workshop and have it's a group, whatever it might be, to help people to wake up, be responsible, and take responsibility for themselves.
Yeah. You've got such a vast array of offerings. I mean, it's cool. So you've got a big toolkit, Have you noticed any type of change, in respect to the general characteristics of your clientele over the last couple of years? Are they expanding? Or are they coming in less, I hate to put it this way, less sick or less misaligned? Are you seeing some growth that wasn't there before?
This is a statement from my Western medicine. Friedrich von Reichmann made a great statement. You really attract people to some degree as to where you are.
Yeah.
And so as you do that, then you will see why. As I grow, I see different people. And so to answer your question in the short word, answer is yes.
Yeah.
From people wanting to wake up and maintain balance, but people who's wanted to, what should they eat? They can do when they have cancer. What should people do in regards to just improving themselves as an individual? So that three types of people, I'm seeing that kind of thing right now.
And I'm just curious. We try not to get into anything too controversial here. And I'm not talking about the typical stuff. We start talking about vegan and this and that. Some of these people get pretty. But I'm just curious, from your standpoint, what type of diet do you suggest or advise? I'm just curious.
That's individualized thing. Why I say individual, because people come into me and saying that say they are, let's deal with typical high cholesterol, or someone have a high blood level, or the blood count, or the hemoglobin A1C is elevated. I look at the lab, I look at the individual, and what can I do to help them be more motivated to be responsible for themselves? Now, you started with the South, and eating sometimes is symbolism. And they can say, my grandfather ate this, they did this, and why should I stop? But I'm saying, well, your blood pressure is 200.
Yeah.
And this is this way.
Yeah.
So you might want to change that. So I get them to identify with something that they care about themselves. And I would change the diet relative to that. And I changed diet relative to each condition, each person. Michael said, you must be a vegan, you must be a vegetarian, you must have all those different types of diet. I don't say must anything. When I say you must be responsible for your health, because I was just in Vegas at this medical conference. We're dealing with what are the attitudes of centurions. And there was no centurion saying you must be a vegan, you must do this. The question is, what's maximum for you to maintain your health, to maintain your independence? And that's what I really support.
Okay.
Now, but if I look at it from what the medical science say, they're gonna say we're vegan, and they're gonna say a vegetarian. They will say that. But my personal experience, if you really want to help people, you got to meet them where they are, and you pull to that scenario, and you got to individualize. One of my classic things that I say, you must individualize to harmonize. Otherwise, use jive. Okay. You must deal with it like that. You got to.
See, Richie, he is a poet and a rapper. He's going to take my job away. I'm not going to be the poet anymore. I'm going to be second class. I'm going to be his fill-in.
Yeah.
No, very good points. I have a friend who's out there on social media pretty well, and she was vegan at one time, and then I don't know. She tells the story a few months back. She had to eat some meat. And she doesn't do a lot of it, but she said, I am not a vegan. I'm an intuitive eater. I eat what my body tells me to eat, what feels right. So my question to you on that is, from your standpoint, your perspective, what's more important? What we ingest into our body, or the energetic force of where we're at with it when we do it? In other words, the thoughts, as we take something into our body. I know they're both important, and I'm not taking anything away from either or, but what actually has, in your opinion, more of an effect? The thoughts, the energetic impressions we make with that, or the actual physical matter?
As an energy person, I'm gonna say your thoughts and your belief about what you're eating.
Mm.
That would be my thing. That also backed up with my one of my Qigong grandmasters. It's the same thing in regards to what are your thoughts, what do you feel about. All foods have their own vibrational frequencies. That's for sure. They also have how to affect your body, but also what are you thinking? What are you feeling when you ingest this? I think they're very important to look at where your mind in regards to creating the energy when you're eating this food.
Yeah.
And now, as I said, I take each person individual and
Yeah.
everybody's different. I see intuitive eating like what you were talking about. I've seen that. They say, whatever I feel, that's what I do.
Yeah.
And believe me, there's centurions that on both sides of the spectrum. They all 100 people, 100 years old. They both say, what I feel like, that's what I do. But a consistent thing about them, they all will have a lot of exercise. They also practice their spirituality. They also have positive outlook, not
Mm.
just the diet. So people off of my diet, but these centurions was had a purpose in life.
Yeah.
They were very positive and optimistic. They maintained their physicality, exercise.
Yeah.
Plus they ate. Those are some very important things. You can't just isolate it. Now, some
Yeah.
people feel very spiritual, say, what does that really mean? You have to have a balance in your life.
Yeah.
And we worked from there. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important to have that, your mindset.
Yeah.
What are you thinking? What are you feeling when you're doing something? I just
Yeah.
came from a Dallas state about 2 months ago, and when they're very big on your question. And as a matter of fact, when they're eating, they kind of keep the I'm present when you're eating. They also said there's no conversation with somebody else while you're eating, because your mind is present just on the food, creating that energy when you're going down.
Wow. Now, a lot of people have in the last few months in this circle, in these circles, I'll just call it the Soulogy circle, talking about how their body, the voice of their physical body is coming through louder and louder. It's speaking to them. Don't do this. I need sugar. I need an orange. Just almost like another aspect
Mm-hmm.
has come in with more clarity. Do people have? I mean, does the body talk? How can we communicate with it? If so, I mean, do you have any take on any of that?
Yeah, for sure. The body's always talking. The question, are we listening? And I don't know if people know how to listen, the desire to listen. When you're dealing with the energy, it's kind of like in my second book, Remembering Quality of Soul. I'm talking about there's a topic on just being quiet. And when you get quiet, you can hear, feel, and see things. And so, depending on your own receptivity, did you hear it? Did you feel it? Did you see it?
Yeah.
And those are the three very important things to become. So to answer your question, it's very important. And yet more and more people becoming more sensitive, more aware of that. Everybody don't hear. Yes. Everybody don't see. Everybody don't feel. Everybody's different. You got to be quiet, become in tune. Who are you? What are you? And become aware of that, allow that, and be that. So getting quiet in your meditation. Of course, me, I meditate, I chant mantras, and that increases your vibrational frequencies. I go back to a lot of the old Sanskrit mantras, which is in my book also. Mantras that's very good to answer your question. It in tune you to your internal self, your intuitive self. And you hear this. Should I do this? I do that. I feel it. You would know. So it's not about believing, feeling. It's about knowing. It's like when you know and be real, you can deal, okay? Know and be real. If not, just chill.
Right.
Okay.
I'm getting them to send me the link for you. I didn't mean to, but I love that, and I caught that little rhyme too at the end there. That's the first time you've done that. I've written about 300 what I call soul speaks. They're all they're some of them are poems, some of them I do a little rap with them, and but you're gonna take my job, man. What am I gonna do?
You know, I want to mention something about co-creation. There's a big, co-created awakening assignment that's happening, and it should people should check that out. It's very important.
That's what I was just pulling up. I tried to pull the link up, but let me see if I just sent a note. Here it is to Kathy to see if she can resend it to me. And let me explain to everybody. We'll go out of order here a little bit. Let me see here. Hang on. Let me see if I can get it to pull up. It wouldn't pull up a second ago. Yeah, it's not pulling up. I don't know what the deal is with that. I'll work on that. I'm not sure why it's not coming up, Kathy. But I do have, let me see which board I'm on here. Yeah. Okay, so let me pull this up. Let's go here first. Now, this is Dr. Hannah's website. All right. And so for those of you who asked, I assume, Dr. Hannah, that they can find the book that you've written and the one that's coming on this site. Would that be right?
You can find out that will be on the site. They're putting all that together. If not, they have my website is there. They should go to that and contact me that way. I'll make sure to get the book. Okay.
Okay. So there's a contact me. There's some testimonials. Here's his services. Here's some media and about him. Is there any of these links you want me to hit while we've got it pulled up?
Just let them feel this way. I think it's okay. This is good. Yes.
Okay. So here's a good description
of the book. That's the first book.
Yeah. Oh, this is the first book. Okay.
This one right here. Qigong Awakens.
Qigong Awakens. Very cool. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. Nice. Nice. There you go. Develop your personal blueprint. So for those of you who asked, this is his site, and I think Kathy's in the audience, and she can make sure, if she would, that we get the link in there just in case anybody comes on. Yeah, and I'm trying to pull up the one on the summit, so I'm going to have to go. Let me try to go to Kathy's page. Maybe I can find it there, because I want to show everybody that. Now, you're going to be on, I believe, Saturday on her summit.
I don't know when she put the arrangement. She have me, but I know I would be on it. She has, I think, 12 different people. She got different arrangement. I'm not sure, but I'm on.
I think I saw it in the notes. Let me see if I can pull it up here real quick. Oh, here it is right here. Okay, let me pull this up. We'll go back over here. Now, let me explain to everybody. We've not done this before. Kathy is our friend, as everybody is our friend. I don't want to create a stampede. We have not participated, and we're not against tele summits at Soulogy. We just felt like we've never done one. So we've been asked to do them, and we haven't done them. But we have collaborated with Kathy and a lot of people in her network and vice versa. So we thought it would be a good idea to get behind it. And we have the opportunity to bring on the show the good doctor and several other people that are going to be speaking at Kathy's event. So let me pull this up, and so everybody can see. It is a free tele summit, which is very attractive to me. So this is a Co-Creative Awakening Summit. It's the 6th through the 14th. So it starts today at www.cocreativeawakening.com. And here's the different people. There's the good doctor, Paul Hannah, Ashley Lee. She's been on here before. There's Kathy. So it looks like and Kathy's been doing this, if I'm not mistaken, for about 18 years. So if you'd like to get more information on it, you can go to www.cocreativeawakening.com or message Kathy Mason. Please don't message me. I'm just kidding. I'm joking. If you do, I'll just send you a link. But for some reason, I couldn't get the Facebook link to come up on here. Now, are you going to be talking about anything in particular at this summit?
That's going to be talking about Soulful Qigong. Soulful Qigong is, as I said, I talked about one love, one breath, one energy. And particularly Soulful Qigong, when I'm teaching it, I'm a conduit for it's using breath, relaxation, visualization to neutralize and transform all those different things that are affecting your whole core being. So let's say people is talking about how do they manage their anger. So what is anger associated in regards to the soul? Fear. What is fear associated with? It's like you're feeling disconnected. So therefore people are afraid, they get angry, they act out. They're affecting their kidneys, they're affecting their liver, they're affecting relationship. Sometimes self-medicate, they isolate just to deal with those kind of things. So Soulful Qigong is a way of going in, individualize and help people take responsibility for themselves and waking them up to their own uniqueness, to their own power, to their own freedom. We came here to learn how to be free. People's afraid to be free
Yeah.
because they feel they might be isolated. How can you be isolated on the one energy?
I can't take it away from you.
You can't-
You can take,
so
you can take it all, you can take everything, but you can't take me.
you can't take me. You know, and I tell them you can't date the eye of them is very, very powerful. So for Qigong, it's about awakening people to their own unique individuality.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Soulogy, what you're doing is fantastic. So it's a big, vast array of people to waking up, coming in, begin to say, who am I? What am I? And how am I to use my uniqueness, my gift
Yeah.
to increase this expansion out here? Expansion to what? Well, expansion to unification, harmonization, to purification with love. That's what.
Yeah. I'm curious. Now you mentioned these Sanskrit mantras. Is that the only types of mantras that you use?
So far, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's many. I just practice them, and it's just the vibration of the mantra is very powerful because, the sound was the beginning, and that vibration of things is very powerful to bring more light inside your light, your realness. And I have a big thing about that. I have acronyms for everything, like light. And one of that is, I'm getting that together. I'm having some cups like that. Living in God's highest truth. That's light, okay?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, so I got nice cups with that. Living in God's highest truth. Now, so living is an action.
Yeah.
It isn't sitting back going along. It's the action. You're living in the highest truth that you know how.
Yeah.
You understand? So
yeah. And truly we are, spiritual inertia is in constant motion. And
yeah.
Another thing that came to me when I first woke up and I was connecting those first couple of years, because it was a constant communion every day. All I did was walk.
Mm-hmm.
I got down to about 165 pounds. So I was walking in the sun all day and barely eating, but was faith, the transitive verb, to trust and believe. And I always love that because it's motion. It's not a noun, it's motion. Everything and that's the whole thing I love about this game and how exciting it's getting is because even when we can move forward and we don't always get what might be the expected result, but we're going to get something as good or better if our intentions are aligned, obviously. But it's like it's becoming more and more, or let's just say less and less time surpassing linear time in terms of what we think and what we create.
Correct.
So this is getting really interesting,
Yes.
really is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was going to ask you one other thing. I can't remember what it was now.
The thing about, you say the motion, like it ain't being.
Yeah.
Being, it is action. It is about movement and being focused when you're moving. And because you can be, you're being the movement, what are you moving to? That's a conscious, have an ever-present state of consciousness to be in that nowness and breathe into that nowness, into that oneness.
Yeah.
Become more and more, increase the expansion.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know. I wanted to ask you now.
Mm-hmm.
I just remembered as you finished that up.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that. Well, you'd mentioned the mantras, and I started playing with improvised mantras and chants in my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Off and on, I've used them. I don't really do much of it anymore. Sometimes I do it when I'm alone. My wife speaks several different light languages, and a lot of people that come on the show do light language and harmonic light language. And but over the last 2 or 3 days, I've had this incredible warp speed, and I would call it more of a mantra than light language coming in out of nowhere as I'm going through these massive transformations and fits and spurts over here, But what I was going to ask you was, I get the impression that what's coming in is, I know it's information and code, but it also seems to be like an igniter. Like I feel like somebody lit a fire under my ass. You know what I mean? Like I'm ready to go now. Like I don't know. Do you have any information on that type of thing with these mantras or light language? I mean, is it an like almost like an instigator, like an igniter to push us?
I mean, it is a catalyst.
Mm.
As you function from your heart, you're more sensitive to this energy that's pushing you to be real, to push you to be pure, to push you more into the light, to be you. And I'm saying the stimulation from this new energy that's coming on this galaxy,
Mhm.
it can ignite your heart to be more pure
Yeah.
and to keep moving forward and keep moving forward. Then you'll bound your which could I call it, your restriction, whatever it is, they are none because you create them in your mind.
Yeah.
And the mind is an illusion. So you transcend that. And basically I'm saying to you, yes, as you function, your heart opens. If you're not moving, they're gonna get you to move. It's a catalyst.
That's right. That's what I love about it. Yeah. Yeah. And it's what I'm getting to is in a way I've never gotten, you know, and that is, I know I'm here and I represent the universal community, the universal family as a human hybrid soul. And I know we have, I'm all for that. The human is the hero. But what I'm getting is like, I don't know if it's like a divine human frequency or knowing or awareness, but it's almost like what I'm hearing. What I'm hearing is, hey, no more pity pot, no more, beating around the bush, no more tiptoeing through the tulips. It's time to get to work. It's time to get jiggy. And work is the wrong word, but purpose, mission, serving the collective. This is why this is the moment that it all begins. I don't know. This is what I've been pulling the last 2-3 days, and I just thought I'd mention it to you because that's what I was intuitively told to do.
What number one is that you have to realize who you are. You being a very spiritual man. It's all over your face. That's powerful. So it's gonna move you forward. And it is time to be real.
Yeah.
And what is real? You realigning it into energy with love. That's been real.
Yeah.
So when you do that more, you're gonna keep moving and stepping down to your uniqueness.
Yeah.
And you have the courage to be your individual. And I'm saying that only can you harmonize when you individualize. What individualizing means? Being real as to who and what you are.
Yeah.
And it's time for that individual, for one to individualize right now.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I'm constantly vibrating.
Yeah.
It's be you, be real.
Yeah. To thine own self be true, man. That's it.
Yeah. And then I tell people, another one is very powerful to me. There's a lot of pity party people that and I neutralize them. I say there are no victims.
Yeah.
They're only volunteers. You understand?
Oh yeah. I'm not volunteering for that anymore. I spent 2 years on the street. I remember one day, because I used to commune with Jesus.
Yeah.
One of them. And one day I was in the hot sun at 100 degrees and carried all my stuff with me. And he came in and he said, hey, you don't have to suffer like I did. I'm like, what? Now you tell me. Now you tell. Well, you needed to learn, I want to ask you one other thing. What does the good doctor do when he gets triggered or he gets off balance, or does it even happen to you?
Yes. And what I teach everybody, I'm very big on breath. Breath is the biggest thing to rebalance, to realign you. So why I say breath? Because breath is the most powerful thing that separates from the physical world to the spiritual world. Breath is a big stabilizer, transformer. So if I get triggered and I teach my little young patient, the older patient, martial patient, whoever they are, hold your breath, change the oxygen flow, and realize people, whatever happened to you, they're reflected of whatever you did. So take responsibility for it.
Yeah.
So when I teach that simple method, doesn't matter how aggressive people are, how much the victim, and I let them know you co-created it. You always, when you see people, they're a reflection of you. They didn't do anything to you. You did it to yourself.
That's
Take
right.
responsibility and learn how to start changing your thoughts, your belief. You create something different. In the meantime, how do you anchor yourself with your breath? Smile love into your heart and say, you know what? What can I do different within me? Rather than becoming a perpetual adolescent and point your finger at somebody else.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. And I guess I can't punch people between the eyes anymore.
I mean,
hey, you gotta laugh too. You know, I've talked to a couple of centurions and definitely some people in their 90s. And one thing I notice about most every one of them is they laugh.
Yes.
Spend a lot of time laughing and making light of things. I remember one of them was in their hospital bed and it was the husband and the wife, relatives of mine, and they said, he said, so-and-so and so-and-so are calling me on the phone, and they're all transitioned already. And she says, hang up on them. And he just laughed, and he was gone within the 24 hours. But yeah, laughter is a big part of it. I hope to hook up with you. I'd love to collaborate with you again in the future. And thank you, Kathy Mason, for introducing us to this fine, beautiful man. Here's the Co-Creative Awakening Summit. Kathy Mason presents, co-creativeawakening.com. And this has been an incredible hour with Dr. Paul Hanna. I hope to collaborate with you in the future. And I have a feeling we might be standing next to each other before this year's over. So that'd be cool too.
I'll look forward to that.
Yeah, I do too. Maybe we can do a little rap together.
You know, I'd really like to do that. I can do it pretty quick. I can then put it back.
I can see it in there. I can totally I get it. You know, I totally get it. Yeah, totally get it. So thank you so much. Thank you for service to humanity. And we'll see you on the other side, this side or both.
All right. All right then. Take care.